damage your discs and risk getting arthritis. Hello and welcome to Redefining Motion. I'm going to be discussing the spine and why people seem to be getting more and more back pain, and the explanations are not really doing it at the moment. I'm going to be discussing common myths with back pain and also how the approach to treating back pain is wrong based upon the anatomy. What are the common myths? Many times I get people come into my treatment room and they say to me, I have back pain because I'm really tall. Or I have back pain because I'm overweight. I've never had somebody come into my treatment room who was not very tall and very slim and had zero back pain. So those myths aren't actually true. So what's actually going on? Why are we getting back pain as a species? First of all, we have to look at the function of the spine and what it's trying to achieve. So first of all, its main objective is to house and protect the spinal cord, which is central nervous system, and to allow communication of nerves from the brain all the way to the points that it's controlling, which are the limbs, the organs, and everything in the human body, basically. The other place in the body that we see central nervous system is in the skull. And as we know, the skull is the toughest part of the human body, and it's protecting the central nervous system. The spine has exactly the same thing. So it should be as solid as the skull, but it needs to allow the nerves to exit, and so there's a few changes. When we have a look at the spine, we see vertebrae and discs. Now, the fact that we talk about these in separate things is actually a misinterpretation. You see, this entire column is one complete structure, much like a broomstick. It's just one solid pole of wood. But the discs are areas of low density of calcium. So therefore, they have a little bit of flexibility. If we have a look at a disc, there's no muscular contraction, no ligamentous protection. It's just this ringed cartilaginous structure. And it works as a shock absorber to stop forces going to your spinal cord. So if you twist and move your back too much, you're going to damage those discs. The spine is also not actually set up for movement. If we look at the joints in the spine, all the way up the spine, they're called facet joints. They're two flat surfaces pressed together. They don't allow a large range of movement. Unlike a hip, as we look, a hip has a ball and a socket. That allows a very large range of movement. So if you're trying to overmobilize your spine, you're making a big mistake and it's going to cause you problems later on in life. So we have this rigidity structure here, and we have this joint structure here. The disc allows any force to hit the spine to be absorbed, and then the joints monitor that movement and the muscles contract to prevent the spine from going beyond and damaging the spinal cord. So if you stretch your spine, rotate your spine, twist it, you're basically going to damage your discs and risk getting arthritis later on in life. What is the actual purpose of cartilage within a joint? Well, when we have cartilage between two surfaces, we're expecting them to press up against each other with some level of force and some level of weight bearing. When we look at the spine, from the neck all the way down, we see how the facet joints are organized in a way to show us which direction the force is coming from. In the neck, the facet joints are orientated in a direction which allows force to be pulling them down at an angle. You can actually see the facet joints in here. And the reason that is because the neck muscles are supporting the rib cage. Therefore, there is a lot of pressure from the rib cage pulling down on the neck. And so the neck must remain rigid in order to support the rib cage. There is nothing else holding up the rib cage at the front. So these joints are angled in a way that they're resisting downward force. When we move into the thoracic spine, this part here, they're put in a position to allow rotation. When we excessively manipulate the spine, what we start to do is create a rotation through those joints, over rotating the spine and creating stress through your discs and trauma to your spinal joints, which results in pain and tension, and the muscles in your back tighten up, get those clicks a lot easier. Limbs move first, spine follows, never the other way around. As we move down into the lumbar spine, what we see is the spinal joints are actually facing each other. As we can see, the facet joints are facing each other. What that's showing us is that they are receiving force in an extension and that their movement is up and down on top of each other, which is a side bending movement. So as I put my right leg down to the ground, I'm going to side bend slightly left to open that side of the spine, pushing the nerves towards the leg as it goes further away from the actual body during movements. So in the lumbar spine, we have a slight wobbly motion from side to side, which is how those joints there are articulating. Now, because the spinal column is protecting the central nervous system, any treatment and any excessive mobility of your spine is going to cause you problems later on in life. As I said earlier, with the discs, if you twist them too much, put too much torsion forces through them, you're going to crack those discs and end up with a slipped disc, also known as a herniated disc, and that could cause you a world of problems. I myself personally never stretch my back because I know it doesn't need it. It's a self-maintaining system protecting the spinal cord, the central nervous system, and allowing your nerves to communicate through to the rest of the body. All of this is shown in the anatomy. And unfortunately, we still haven't understood this, and too many therapists are working on the back, loosening off the back, and creating all sorts of issues later on. So you've been listening to me at Redefining Motion. Subscribe, like, follow, and leave me any questions if you have anything you want to know based on this discussion. Thank you.